So, welcome to you, Denise.
Thank you.
You have a really strong history. And who are you? Who have you become? And can you please tell us who you are and your experience about, to be a human
Thanks
being?
for having me. My name's Denise Longtin, and who am I? Well, I am somebody who has changed a lot over the years, right? We start out in a certain way, but our experiences that we have in life have sort of morphed us into who we are. And I used to be sort of, a control. I'm still a little bit, that, but a control person, like feeling the need to control everything, to fix everything. And I became a mom. And when I had my third son, he had significant special needs. And I realized this wasn't a thing that was just going to be short lived. This was going to be a lifetime. And it really made me think about things a lot differently. Like, I feel like he was sent to me, to my family, for a reason. And I started to really change my perspective on how I looked at things. So I started to really live like everything that happened to me, whether it seemed good or not good, right? Because I think we all make judgments on something, if it's good or not. But everything is good. And I started looking at everything that came to me as a benefit, and no matter what it was. And he taught me so much. And I still take care of him today. He's 26. He's my youngest. But he taught me how to be patient and how to understand and appreciate things that maybe we took for granted. And he taught me that no matter what happens, God is good. And I became stronger. Well, the strength came from a place that I didn't know, right? I didn't know that I had this kind of strength until I was kind of put to the test. And over time, it just helped me to be a better person, to be stronger, to be more positive, to look at things and then help other people do the same. Because once you practice it, because it's a practice, you become that becomes your normal, like your first go-to. You don't see a situation as bad. You see all the good things, and somebody else is looking at all bad things. And so it helps me to help other people have a different perspective.
Wow. Because my meeting with you, the first meeting with you, I really felt your heart warmth and very high frequency and energy. And I just, wow, who is this woman? What is it with her? And I felt also you saw me, so I think you are
I
very
felt the
sensitive.
same about you. Yeah.
Yeah. Is it awareness, or have you also studied or learned about this field in a way?
Yes, a little bit. A little bit. I feel like I feel things, like a spirit or an energy, and when I look in someone's eyes, sometimes I can feel it. So when I first met you, I could tell, like, happy energy, bright, like people who want to bring good to the world, people who want to help other people, and I can feel it. And so many people here that we've met, and I've had that experience.
Yeah. Yeah, because we are actually on a cruise boat now, and it's a group, a team with very happy, healthy people, actually. Yes. So we can talk a little bit about that, the Touchstone, and how did the journey of Touchstone Essentials begin for you?
Well, I've been in this industry for a long time, and just direct selling, sort of, because of my son. I couldn't really have a regular job and be able to work around my family. So I've always been in this industry. But a company that I was with had closed, and I was kind of just looking around for a new home. And I'm very about health. And I found this wonderful, wonderful organization. And when I met the people, the founder, it really, I had that feeling of goodness, like, and that's literally the tagline, like the good inside. And I felt like I was home. And it's made a huge difference for me in my life from a health perspective, but also from a personal perspective of the people that I've met and everybody having that mission to help other people get well. And I see out there a lot people who are very frustrated, and I was one of them sometimes. You hear all these different things from others, from media, from stuff you read, just out in the mainstream. This is good for you. No, that's not good for you. This is bad for you. Oh, no, now it's not bad. It's good. Oh, you should never eat this. Oh, you should never. And you walk through the grocery store and you read labels and you think, I don't even know what is what. And so I want to help make that easier for people because we have some simple solutions that you can just, help up your game a little bit without changing your life all in one fell swoop.
Yeah. What is the principles about this, about the cleansing and building up the body and also the mind, because the clearness.
Well, first the mind, really, because that positivity and the attitude and the happiness and the surrounding yourself with people who are that totally lifts you as well. And I think that is so powerful for your health. But also all of the other things from good nutrition to good habits. Not that you have to be perfect, nobody is, right? But when you're around people who are that, you do better, right? It kind of, right? What is the saying? Rising tide lifts all boats, right? So we all help one another, and yeah.
Wow. This product with the PBX Light, when I heard about it, that was the reason I started, because I understood it cleansing all of the body, the brain also. And so can you tell us a little bit about this?
Yeah. So this was a product that I really was drawn to for the fact that toxins are everywhere. We can't get away from them. We can do all we can do to minimize our exposure, to try to be better, to make some changes in our life. Some changes, maybe not always possible. Like, I'm never going to not fly in a plane. It's a pretty toxic spot, but I'm going to do other things to mitigate, to lower my exposure, but I'm still going to be exposed. And so what can I do for the things that I'm exposed to, the things that are already in my body, to get those out? Because I do believe that the more we can be preventative, the less trouble we'll have in the future, right? So those toxins, to be able to do something as simple as spray something in your mouth. Yeah. And for my kids and my grandchildren, it's just so easy. And people need that, like something simple. Things are complicated sometimes in the world. If you could have something simple that you can do that can make a difference. Yeah.
Can you share some insights into which minerals we need more of and which we should actively avoid?
Well, I'm not a practitioner or degreed in health in any way, but of the things that I've read, really, if your body is deficient in minerals, you're not absorbing your nutrients that you need, your vitamins. So I myself actually think I was deficient in minerals. Which ones, I really don't know. But when I started using one of the products, I had a significant change in, I got headaches all my whole life, like since I was a kid, and they went away. And I think that I was deficient in minerals, and so I wasn't properly absorbing the rest of my nutrients, leaving me deficient and depleted. And I think the majority of people are mineral deficient. So anything you can do to add a little bit of that into your routine, your diet, is goes a long way. It's highly beneficial.
And this company have this fulvic.
Yes, that's what I was talking about.
Yeah.
It's fulvic minerals, and it has the fulvic compounds, which we used to get from root vegetables, but our soil is so depleted that we can't always get that. So that's there. And then there is sea-based minerals and a little bit of zeolite, which is a detox. And those three things really make a significant impact on your gut. And that's what was so changing for me, to be able to, I didn't think it was like I started using it. And then a couple of months later, I thought, I, I haven't had a headache. And then I thought, well, it's coincidental, a couple months more. It's been like 2.5 years and still nothing. It's mind blowing.
Wow.
Yeah.
If our bodies could speak, what do you think they be begging us to do different?
I think one of the big things, if I know for me, if my body could talk, it would say, please tell me good things.
Yeah.
We are sometimes so quick to judge ourselves, judge others, to beat ourselves up about what we should do, what we shouldn't do, what's good, what's not good. If we just remove those labels and just, everything is good, right? And be kind to yourself, say nice things to yourself. Like what we say to ourselves, often we would never say to another person. And I think our body needs us to love it and take care of it and put good things in. If we want to get good out, you have to put good in.
Yeah. Wonderful. Actually, be kind and be kind to your family also. That's words coming down in me all the time, because all people are a family, actually. And we learn to judge ourselves and other people in schools and in healthcare, actually. And instead, we should support ourselves and support the other. You are like that, and that's wonderful.
I talk a lot about like having good juju, because that's kind of my thing, right? But if you could spread that good juju out everywhere, it does come back to you. And so when you have that philosophy and that's how you walk the earth, all of that comes back and all of it aids in your health at the end of the day.
Thank you. For someone who thinks detoxing is just a trend, what's the one thing you say or show them to change their mind instantly?
I try to use analogies, and it will depend on who I'm talking to about it. I have a friend who's a big car person, and the way he treats his car is wonderful, but you don't do that to your body. Other people, like in sports, right? If you're a golfer and you're struggling with your golf game, what do? Okay, you might go to the golf course more often. You spend a little more time, you practice. You might get some help. You might enlist the help of a professional who's going to show you some little moves, some tweaks that you can make. You might get new golf clubs. You go to these great lengths to help improve. But when it comes to ourselves and our health, I feel like it's often taken for granted, because we are a society that likes instantaneous gratification. So if I eat well today and tomorrow I'm not magnificent, I'm like, well, that didn't do anything. But it takes time, right? And I have a lot of people that say to me, oh, this is how I always been. And I'm fine. You're fine today. But how do you want to be tomorrow? Depends on what you're doing today. And the toxin piece is really big, to get those out of your body, because you really don't know all of what that's impacting, from your mind to your body. to how you process and assimilate your nutrients. All of those things are impacted.
Yeah. Does that mean that people can be angry and irritated, frustrated, or sad? Or
yes. And that's hard sometimes for people to realize that that is connected. You know, you hear so many people struggle with anxiety, with just, you know, we all know people that are just always in a bad mood. And they'll say, oh, I just have the worst luck. Well, first of all, you're saying it out loud, like, I have the worst luck. And your brain is saying, yes, you do. Instead of saying, you know what, my luck is getting better.
Yeah.
And your brain will say, yes, it is. And so then it looks for those things. And if you are speaking better about yourself and then doing something about it, taking some kind of action, like just spraying your mouth a couple of times a day, if you start there, it can go so far.
Yeah. A strange thing, I think, is that people want a quick fix, like they go to doctor and take pills, and that's okay for them. They don't check the ingredients or anything. But natural things like this, they want a quick fix and not understanding this process.
It's a long process. Yes. You're not going to, there's so many things in life that we do that aren't quick. It takes time, right? You're not going to refinish a piece of furniture by putting on a coat of paint. You have to sand it down. You have to clean it. You have to prepare the surface. Then you paint it. If you just slap on the coat of paint, it might look pretty at first, but in a couple days it'll start to peel. Then it will start to show the wear. And I feel like that's the same for our body. If we don't prepare, how are we going to be in another week, months, years down the road? And yeah, that's why this is important.
Yeah. I have a big health group on Facebook, and I have a lot of issues. And I believe they can be good again. And when I share this about zeolite and cleansing and building up, sometimes they wrote that they have Googled zeolite and get a lot bad shit up.
Yeah.
And I, of course, write as it is with this company. But can you tell a little bit about this?
About zeolite?
Yeah, and how it is, because in the internet world, it is a lot misinformation.
There is
it's
a lot of misinformation.
Other companies, it's different zeolites.
Yes, there's all kinds out there. Not all kinds are highly beneficial. And it's the same with anything that you would buy. Can you buy some things that are less expensive, whether it be clothes or furniture or whatever in your life? Supplementation, food, yes, you can, but is it the most beneficial? And the process that we go through for our quality and how the product works in your body and how that little, I think of it like this little tiny magical ball. It's like a cage. In fact, I explained it to somebody, like if you've ever been to a festival or a fair where they have those booths that you stand in and money shoots out, right? And you have so many seconds to grab as many as you can, and people are stuffing it in their clothes. And I feel like that's what zeolite is like in our body. It goes in, it goes through in a matter of 4 to 6 hours, and it grabs onto anything that's toxic, that it has an affinity for. So it's negatively charged, grabs those positively charged toxins, heavy metals, pesticides, herbicides, all those things. And it grabs them, pulls it into this little magical ball in this cage, and it just travels through your body and exits right out through your waist. Done. It doesn't get much more simple than that. And it's not getting deposited anywhere else because we don't have any receptor cells for zeolite, for zeolite. So it's not stuck in there. those those little bad juju bits are not not sticking anywhere else. They're just exiting, and that's what you want. So that's how I think of it. Like I'm in the booth, grabbing all the bad stuff, getting it out.
Thank you. That was the product. It was a fantastic explanation. Then I think about what we do together, we people, because sometimes people are toxic or they are bad against each other, and I think it can be the situation sometimes. So we have to
Yes.
be good, and forgiveness is important. But other times it's toxic people,
Yes.
manipulating people, bad people actually.
And sometimes they're in your own space or family, and that's really a difficult thing to sort of make peace with. But yes, when you talk about toxins, you want to get them out of your body, but also from a psychological perspective and a mental perspective, you also want to not be exposed to things that are harming you from an emotional standpoint.
Yeah.
So be around people that make you feel good. When you leave the person, do you feel good? Or do you feel angry or sad or, depressed? Those are not people that you want to hang out with.
Yeah, because we are in a field.
Mm-hmm.
So of course, maybe the other person was sad, and you and me can feel this sadness, but we know that it is not mine; it's the other person.
Right.
So that's another thing. That's a resource to get a high awareness. But other times, as you say, they are really not good for us. So we have to take care of ourselves. How do you do it in your life?
That is, I mean, I'm going to call it exposed to people like that, and I do have people like that in my life periodically. And I don't want to be, I don't know how to say it. I don't want to like shun them exactly. I want to offer some perspective for them. Um, a smile goes a long way, and kindness goes a long way. And some people, that might, your smile might be the only smile that they have. There's a reason they're that way. It's not just, because they want to be. They don't know any better. So I feel a responsibility to just be kind and friendly and then remove myself, right? You don't need to be rude about it. You just, that's really what I do, is try to just be happy and give them some perspective. And I feel like that comes through and it rubs off on people, sometimes not right away, but sometimes it gives them other things to think about. And a lot of people don't take care of themselves, which is another part of health, just self-care. And self-care could simply mean sitting quietly somewhere. And I'll admit, I didn't used to want to do that. I have a very chaotic life. And even before my son was born, even when he was little, found myself, I love music and I listen to music all the time, like constantly in the car, in the house, the TV's on, the music, you're talking to people. I wasn't quiet very often. And I think that a lot of people aren't, because when you're quiet, then you have to hear yourself, right? As soon as I became quiet, I got better at that. And that self-care piece, I obviously care for somebody who has significant needs, and it's draining. And a lot of people have that, whether you're a parent and you're caring for children, or you're somebody who's caring for your parents or a grandparent, or maybe a spouse or a significant other, somebody who has some needs. It can be draining. And a lot of times we put everyone before ourselves. And if you don't give that help and love back in here, you can't put it out there. So that's a big piece.
Yeah, so important. You can't give love if you have not love to give. It has to be here inside.
You have to fill your tank before you can let the overflow go to everybody else.
If somebody, for example, is rude to you, I don't think they can be, but if somebody do something, yeah, that's terrible. But will it destroy your day, or will you have it the power in within you?
I would say probably 20 years ago, it might have ruined my day.
Mm.
But when I look back at it, my perspective is it ruined my day because I allowed it to ruin my day by ruminating on it, by reading into it, by replaying it in my head. And the truth is, it's none of my business. It is what someone else says or thinks of me is none of my business. And I started to just separate myself. If someone's rude to me, I just don't look at it as rude. They don't know any better. It's like if a little child came up to you and made a comment that was unkind, you're not going to be angry. This is a little child. They don't know any better.
Yeah.
Right?
That's good.
That's how I try to think of it. Because a lot of times people, if they are rude, they're not doing it because they think, oh, I'm going to be rude today. That's my jam. No, they're doing it because of other reasons. And we don't know what those are. We don't walk in those shoes. So it's not my job to judge. I just try to send out a little bit of love and move on my merry way.
Why don't we learn things like this on school?
Yeah, wouldn't that be great?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, that would be a nice little. I think they do some of those things in schools nowadays. You know, the world is busy and people have a lot of stress, and things can sometimes be difficult, and you can never know what somebody else is dealing with unless you have actually dealt with it yourself. So I just try not to make judgments. And yeah.
Do you believe that every person has a unique purpose in life?
I do. Yeah, I do believe that we're here for a reason. We have a mission in life. In fact, I just said to someone, my son that I take care of was very, very sick in January. And he hadn't been that sick in 15 or 20 years. And he was in the hospital, and I didn't think he was coming home.
Oh.
And people who had what he had often don't make it, and he's already compromised to begin with. But he fought, and he's better. And I know it's because he's not done whatever he's here to do. I'm not sure what that is. I think it's just to spread sunshine because he's so happy, and you can't help but be happy when you're in the presence of somebody so compromised and so unable to do the things that we all take for granted, but they're so happy all the time. Oh, it's hard not to notice. It's going to get me choked up. It's hard not to notice that and think to yourself, huh, like, wow, okay, yeah, I'm okay.
Yeah, he is love, actually.
Yes.
So
yeah.
So he is really important.
And I do think that we are here for a purpose, but we all have free will, right? So we can increase that purpose. We can go down other paths. We have choices. There's always a choice.
Yeah. And the responsibility for what we do to ourselves, to others, and the health, body, everything.
Well, the thought that do unto others, right? If whatever you're doing out there in life or saying, would you say that or do that to yourself or somebody that you loved or your child? Like, if you wouldn't.
Yeah. How does our mental state influence our spiritual journey, you think?
Well, I think it really has a big impact because if you're in a mental state that is sad, depressed, what have you, it's very hard to see out the window. It's like the curtains are closed. But again, you have choices, right? So if you work to make a different choice, maybe it's putting yourself in a different environment, maybe with different people, or being open to trying, removing toxins from your body or eating differently. Whatever it is, do yourself a favor and be responsible for yourself. Like you feel like this, then figure out, look up, be educated, become self-aware. What are some things that you can do? And it doesn't mean that you have to shift your entire being at the moment, but you start with one little thing, and every single little step, 10 pennies make a dime, so to speak. And every single step that you take forward is a step forward. And it doesn't matter if you teeter back a little bit, just keep moving forward. Just don't stop moving.
Yeah. And you said silence is important. And I think about this, that it seems they have not contact with the consciousness as we are. They just think and do things. And that's not enough. That's really frustrating. If I should just think and maybe think just critical and judging, it would be very terrible for me. But
Yes.
I use thinking as a tool. I think constructive and also critical, so I don't fall in the water in a way. But I am something, energy, consciousness.
Yes. Yes, it's true. And the quiet does help with that. And I try to, if that's hard for someone to understand, because I used to be the one that's hard to understand. Like years and years ago, you're thinking, well, how is that going to help me? But I think about it like if you're walking down the street and you have your arms full of packages, groceries, let's say, and you need something, how can you receive it? You can't because your arms are full. You have got to let go of that stuff before you can get more. So being quiet, even if it's for 3 minutes, like if that is like nails on a chalkboard to you, just give yourself, do it for 30 seconds. Start little. Set your timer for 1 minute. Just take a breath and focus on your breath, and you will be amazed at what happens when you practice that and it becomes more comfortable. And all of a sudden, different thoughts come to your mind, and it makes a big difference. Connecting to your spirit.
You have a great gift. Really, you inspire. I feel so much energy. That also is something. Can it? I know you feel energy frequencies.
I do.
Yeah.
I do feel that, and thank you. That's very kind. I have had people say that to me, and at first they didn't. I don't know. I was like, I don't know. I'll do what I can, but I feel it now, and every time that I feel like I'm giving out good to somebody or paying someone a compliment or like little things. We're here on this boat, like you said. Simply walking up to a stranger that you notice that they look spectacular and saying, oh my gosh, I love your outfit, or I love, whatever, like genuine. The look on people's faces is so filling for me. And I feel like we're just creating this back and forth, and we're just, paying it forward sort of. And then they feel happy and inspired, and maybe then they might turn around and do that to somebody. Little by little, everybody gets happy.
Yeah. I think we calibrate them and give away the good. And it's become a synergy effect also, as you said.
Yes.
Really.
Yeah, and you can feel the energy. And just like we talked about earlier when we were chatting, I could feel your energy. I could see in your eyes. I felt a connection with you. And the more that you do those things, the more connected you feel, which helps you to be more positive and more affirming. And
yeah. And when I meet a person like you, I get so curious. Who are you? I have to talk with you. I have to know something about you. And if I not had felt it, I wouldn't know you. So it's a real awareness. Sensitivity is a good thing. Everybody can learn it.
Mm-hmm.
What advice would you give to someone seeking to awaken their own extraordinary abilities or spirituality, health, or what they need?
Well, I think there's probably a lot of people who would say, "Oh, I don't have any extra, abilities." We all have them. We all have gifts. Like God doesn't make mistakes. We're here, you know, it's not an accident. And we're all perfect in our own ways in from that sense. But if you can learn to just let that out and remember that and just share that, you're good, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
um, yeah, there are no mistakes. They're just lessons.
Yeah. Yeah, we can learn and grow. And have you experienced some mystery of existence or some synchronity or things like that in your life?
Synchronicity is something that happens all the time. I always say, it was a, but we all know it's not a coincidence. I believe that people are placed in your path. Now, again, like when I started to be more, give myself space and quiet and be a little bit more meditative, and it opened me up differently. So it could be that things are placed in your path and you don't see them because you're driving down the highway 90 miles an hour and you don't see that road over there. But when there's an accident in front of you and you have to divert down that path, you go down that path and you're like, oh, look at this. Oh, look at this. You would have never found those things. And that's why I think everything that happens to you is for your benefit. Doesn't matter what it is. And, when I'm stuck in traffic behind a car and I'm in a hurry and I feel myself getting upset, like, oh my gosh, I'm going to get, I think to myself, oh, thank you so much. Like this car's here because maybe there's a police officer up there that I would have gotten in trouble because I was speeding, or maybe there might be an accident or some traffic incident ahead that I'm being shielded from. Like I just try to look at everything as a benefit, and that really helps a lot.
Do you think we all are interconnected in brains or souls or in any way?
Yes, I think we're all connected.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Me
The
too.
energy, and once you start seeing that synergy, the coincidence, it happens all the time to me. I'm thinking of someone and then they'll call me, or even just on this boat, I might be thinking of someone and all of a sudden they'll pass by, and it's just funny.
This actually happened in the breakfast for me. Because I was in a long way alone. I think about two persons in this team. I didn't find them in, and then they come in, and I know this, but in the same way I get shocked because it's so past, and I just thought it. But I question them when we all are interconnected. Isn't it very important to could support ourselves in a so we don't get the bad stuff in, because some people are egoistic, rude, do bad things, and other good things.
Yes.
So
Yeah, it is important to be around that. And today, actually, this reminds me that there's somebody who's not feeling well, and she sent me a note, and I told the person that I was with, and we brought some things to her to help her feel better.
Mm.
And then we told somebody else, and she came along, and then somebody else came along. And we were all there in her room, bringing her some things that might be helpful and talking to her. And she got a little bit teary, and I got a little bit teary. And I said, if for nothing else, just the love and caring that's in this room, like knowing that you're supported. And incidentally, each of us were from different parts of the world. Here we all are trying to help this one person.
Mm.
And I think it's important because all of us, while we're individual, I do think that we're connected, and it feels so supportive and grounding to know that there's people out there. We live an entirely world away from me where I live.
Yeah.
But I know you're there. Even though we don't see each other very often, I know you're there. It makes me feel good. It makes me feel supported. And it's important to know that there's people out there who care about you. You might not even know them.
Yeah. I think internet is a very good thing because we can get it. Because what you say, we can believe and know, but then we can send video, we can send texts to each other in the whole
Yes.
world.
Yeah. Just little happy, little uplifting things just to feel supported.
Wow. I like to thank you and really thank you for what a person you are. We need people like you.
Well,
Yeah.
you know what? You are that person too. And so I thank you because this was really great. And I hope this was helpful to someone. Maybe it gave an idea or some little tweak that someone could make in their life to make it better. And I thank you for having me.
Thank you. I am sure this will give a push to someone or help someone because you also are love as you. I think, yeah.
Thank you.
Pure love.